Marilyn Monroe was born Norma Jean Mortensen on June 1, 1926, in Los Angeles, California. Her mother, Gladys Pearl Baker, struggled with severe mental health problems and was unable to provide a stable home. Norma Jean never knew her biological father, and his identity has remained uncertain. During her childhood, she spent time in foster homes and an orphanage. She moved frequently between families and rarely experienced the security most children take for granted. At just 16 years old, Norma Jean married James Dougherty. The marriage was largely practical, helping her avoid returning to an orphanage after her foster family relocated. Soon after, Dougherty joined the Merchant Marine during World War II. While he was away, Norma Jean worked in a factory supporting the war effort. One day, a military photographer visited the factory to capture images of women contributing to wartime production. The photographs revealed something remarkable. Norma Jean possessed a natural beauty and confidence in front of the camera. Modeling agencies quickly noticed her. She left factory work and began building a successful modeling career. Within a short time, she appeared on magazine covers across America. As her popularity grew, Hollywood studios became interested. In 1946, she signed her first movie contract. The studio suggested she change both her hair color and her name. Norma Jean became Marilyn Monroe. Her blonde hair and glamorous appearance would soon become legendary. The early years in Hollywood were not easy. Marilyn received only small roles. Many executives viewed her primarily for her appearance rather than her acting ability. Determined to prove herself, she studied acting, worked with respected coaches, and continuously improved her performances. Her persistence began paying off. In the early 1950s, Marilyn appeared in films such as The Asphalt Jungle and All About Eve. Although her roles were relatively small, audiences remembered her. Her charisma was impossible to ignore. Hollywood had discovered its next major star. By 1953, Marilyn Monroe had become one of the most famous women in the world. Films like Niagara, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, and How to Marry a Millionaire transformed her into a global sensation. Her performance of Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend became one of the most iconic scenes in cinema history. Crowds gathered wherever she appeared. Photographers followed her every move. Studios recognized that Marilyn Monroe had become a box office phenomenon. Her image appeared on posters, magazines, advertisements, and newspapers around the world. Yet behind the glamorous smile, Marilyn often struggled with insecurity. She worried that people admired only her appearance. She desperately wanted to be respected as a serious actress. To challenge Hollywood's expectations, Marilyn founded her own production company in 1955. She also studied at the famous Actors Studio in New York, where she worked alongside some of the industry's most respected performers. Her determination surprised many critics. Marilyn was proving she was far more than a glamorous movie star. She wanted artistic respect as much as commercial success. Around the same time, her personal life attracted enormous public attention. In 1954, she married baseball legend Joe DiMaggio. The marriage quickly became one of America's biggest celebrity stories. However, the relationship lasted less than a year. Different lifestyles, intense media attention, and personal differences contributed to their separation. One famous moment during their marriage became legendary. While filming The 7-Year Itch, Marilyn stood over a New York subway grate as a gust of air lifted her white dress. The image became one of the most recognizable photographs in entertainment history. Although it boosted Marilyn's fame, reports suggest the publicity created tension in her marriage. The marriage eventually ended, but Marilyn's career continued reaching new heights. She had become one of Hollywood's brightest stars. In 1956, Marilyn Monroe married celebrated playwright Arthur Miller. Unlike her previous marriage to baseball legend Joe DiMaggio, this relationship was built on a shared interest in literature, art, and intellectual conversation. Many believed Marilyn had finally found the stability she had long searched for. She admired Miller's intelligence, while he admired her determination to be taken seriously as an actress. But beneath the surface, life was becoming increasingly difficult. Marilyn suffered from chronic anxiety, insomnia, and intense stage fright. To help her sleep and cope with the pressures of fame, doctors prescribed medications that were commonly used at the time. Unfortunately, over the years, she became increasingly dependent on prescription sleeping pills and sedatives. Despite these struggles, her career reached new heights. In 1959, she starred alongside Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon in Some Like It Hot. Marilyn's performance earned widespread praise and won her a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress. Although audiences saw a confident, glamorous star on screen, filming was often difficult. She frequently arrived late to the set and sometimes struggled to remember her lines. In 1961, Marilyn starred in The Misfits, a film written specifically for her by Arthur Miller. The production proved emotionally exhausting. The marriage between Monroe and Miller had begun falling apart, and the strain affected both the film and their relationship. Shortly after filming ended, the couple divorced. It was another heartbreaking chapter in Marilyn's personal life. Throughout her career, Marilyn was one of the most photographed women in the world. Every appearance became front-page news. The public followed her romances, friendships, and career with extraordinary interest. She also developed friendships with influential figures in politics and entertainment. Among the most discussed were her reported connections to President John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert F. Kennedy. By 1962, Marilyn was working on the film Something's Got to Give. Production became increasingly troubled. Health issues caused her to miss several filming days, leading the studio to suspend and later dismiss her from the project. However, negotiations to bring her back had reportedly begun, and there were signs that her career might recover. Friends also believed she remained optimistic about future opportunities. Then tragedy struck. On the morning of August 5, 1962, Marilyn Monroe was found unresponsive in her home in Brentwood, Los Angeles. She was just 36 years old. The official investigation concluded that her death was caused by an overdose of barbiturates and was classified as a probable suicide. Newspapers around the globe featured Marilyn on their front pages. Fans gathered outside her home and attended memorials to pay their respects. While her life ended far too soon, Marilyn Monroe's influence has never faded. She transformed the image of Hollywood glamour. She challenged the studio system by creating her own production company. She fought to be recognized for her talent rather than simply her appearance. Today, her photographs remain among the most recognizable in history,